three-time undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Alexander Usyk. But before we actually get to the fight itself, I have to say, I could not operate my Saturday normally whatsoever. All throughout the day, I was so invested in this fight. Every time I thought about it, it was just causing me to get so nervous and full of anxiety because I wanted this man to win so badly. And the reason being is because it's not just his incredible ability. Now, before I go on, actually, I should say I'm not this big nationalist. I don't have this sort of view that because I'm British, I want the British guy to win. For me in boxing, it doesn't really come across like that. I don't really have that mindset and thinking. It's different with a team sport like football and Scotland are playing, for example. But the way he conducts himself, not just in the ring but outside the ring, he's a champion at its core, and it's so hard to root for him. Root against him, and you could tell last night by the reception. But I was so invested, and actually, it was just afterwards such a sigh of relief. Even as I was watching it and seeing how he was fighting, I just was like, "Oh, thank God it's over," because just the anxiety and all the stress left me. But yeah, that's how I felt. But on to the fight itself. So, opening round, I gave it to Usyk. I thought he came out. Initially, actually, Dubois came and pushed forward, but Usyk landed more better shots. The opening jab was like he got such a big reaction out of Dubois. I think every time he hit him cleanly. And the first round, he hit him with a couple of jabs, and Dubois' head snapped back, and he was the one who naturally just looked so comfortable and eased in damn near immediately. Round two, I had the same. I gave it to Usyk again. I didn't think he did much wrong. I think the first two rounds, Dubois just clearly trying to adjust, and Usyk, like he described it himself as well. When he gets in the ring and the bell goes, like he's on it, and Dubois obviously took the couple of rounds to warm up, but Usyk was really starting to find his groove. And round three, I found harder to score. Not as much happened. I think Usyk had a really. I actually think Dubois for the first half was actually having a good round. It was definitely his best round of the fight, and up to that point, most definitely. But towards the end of the fight, that round, Usyk came on strong and landed really nice shots, especially at the end. So I kind of had it. You can give that one either way, but for the sake of scoring and for this, I thought, okay, let's just give it to Dubois. But that definitely a round you could have probably give either way. But round four, again, I don't think there's any complaints. Usyk again, just continuously teeing off at Dubois, moving, and it was so amazing to watch because anytime he'd be in the corner, he'd just roll out of the way and would initiate and it'd go back on the front foot, pushing Dubois, and Dubois just had no real answers. Then we get to the big crescendo, the final round in round five. I mean, again, Usyk started off strong, and I don't want to say Dubois quit. I think the first knockdown was more. It wasn't, it didn't look like a super insane, tough shot. I think it was more of a balance sort of thing, his equilibrium. And yeah, as soon as he got up, Usyk was straight back at him, and yeah, that left was absolutely brutal. It was stunning to watch, and just as soon as as he was falling, the gum shield came out. I thought, yeah, there's just no way. And as the referee was counting and it waved off, I actually jumped right in the air because I was so happy. But man, but what's next? Well, Usyk doesn't need to fight. That's been the case since the end of the second fight with Fury. In fact, you could even go before that. He should just retire. I know obviously he's spoken numerous times that, okay, I've got two fights left. This one with Dubois and then one more. So if we're gonna really say if he's gonna fight one more person, there's only one person who actually deserves the fight. It's quite obvious. It's Joseph Parker. Now, Usyk has the right, I think, at this stage to definitely pick whoever he wants to fight one more time against. But if we're going off the back of who actually has earned the shot and who is the mandatory here, is Joseph Parker. I don't think he needs to fight Fury again or Joshua again or anyone else for that matter. Joseph Parker is the only fight out there. Do I think Joseph Parker wins? No, I don't think there's anyone right now in the division that actually has the skill set and the ability to beat Usyk, but I would still like to see it just because we haven't seen it yet. I don't think he should fight Moses Itauma because even though Itauma has youth and he's coming up and he looks fantastic, it's not a fight that I don't think he'd be able to handle. I think that the levels and experience is just far too great, and it's an unnecessary position to put a Talma in right now, especially when he's still growing. So I don't think that. I think Joseph Parker's the only fight. There is Kabayel, but the run that Parker has been on and the patience he's shown, and he mentioned it himself, there was no fights out there. Sadly, it was ultimately all hinging on the result of this fight, and now obviously Usyk has won. Usyk will take the next few months off, and will likely, hopefully, see this fight get announced. But what's next for Dubois? Honestly, coming into this, I definitely think that his strategy, as many would probably say as well, it should have been a kill or be killed. But obviously, it's not go gung ho, all guns blazing immediately. It has to be calculated pressure, but he had to be more assertive and more aggressive in those few moments that he got Usyk in the corner. Obviously, Usyk's a genius, and him moving out of the corner is testament to his IQ and the way he was doing it and rolling. And even though at times Dubois seemingly looked like he was landing pretty well, it just Usyk is so good at making what looks like a great shot visually just ultimately seem to have no damage because his defense is so elite. But Dubois, where does I think he go? Well, it's not end of the day. I think, and I kind of sent this comment on a YouTube video I was watching. It's boxing, unfortunately, is in a situation where losing in itself is a possible situation to be in. It's not an impossibility, losing, and in boxing it's become an impossibility, and it's become inconceivable, and it needs to become normalized. And for Dubois, still in his 20s, he's got plenty of time. There's so many other challengers. I mean, going into this, many would have said he is the second best heavyweight active right now, because I know Fury was kind of in retirement, not retirement, but everyone would say that was 1 and 2 we saw last night. Obviously, there's just a huge gulfing class between 1 and 2, but I think Dubois will probably have a kind of gimmick fight, his next one, and then I think he'll probably go in against an elite fighter. I think in the future Cabell may be an interesting fight, but he's far from losing to Usyk, who is an all-time great. There's no such thing as generational great with this guy. This guy is in the same discussions as the Muhammad Ali's, the Mike Tyson's, the Lennox Lewis's, like George Foreman's, Joe Frazier, all of those elite fighters of the past. He is in that. Now, I don't want to get into this whole would he have beaten them, because I think it's unfair, because obviously sport evolves and the conditions in which fighters fight in over time has most definitely only improved, and equipment and all those sorts of things. But stylistically, Usyk is a tough one to crack, and I think he would have, I don't know if he would have thrived in every era, but man, he's a unique fighter, and I've only been watching boxing for maybe 6-7-ish years. But I've tried to consume a lot of content and scratch up on my history in that period of time. But this man is so unique, so incredible, and honestly, it's such a great privilege to just watch him. He's in the same category as some of the best athletes that we've seen in respective sports. So, for example, he's in the same bus, so to speak, as Messi, Ronaldo, Djokovic, Federer, Nadal. All of these incredible athletes playing at their sports peak level. He is in there, but man, an incredible performance and an incredible fighter.